Hello everybody, and welcome back to Be Joy in the Kitchen, coming to you from the San Francisco Bay Area. I am Be Joy, and this is my kitchen. So today we're going to continue to refresh Thanksgiving. The recipe has a lot of story behind it. Pretty much. I'd say about 2 months ago, a lot of us gang got together on Zoom to cook together. And our friend Z came up with the stuffed portobello mushroom recipe, which was portobello mushroom stuffed with a wild rice. And that got me to thinking, once I tasted it, I went, oh man, this is really good. And what does this remind me of? Reminded me of my mom's wild rice ring. She used to make this ring in a mold with wild rice, and it was kind of sweet. And so I got on the phone with my brothers and I said, where is that recipe? Where is that recipe? And we couldn't find it. It's somewhere, I think it's somewhere at my brother David's house. And then I went to the cookbooks. She used to love to cook from Francois Pope's cookbook in the 50s. I think a little bit of Joy of Cooking, not so much. Her bigger book was the Settlement Cookbook. So those are all, cookbooks for brides in the 50s, and they were, I looked through those and I found a few recipes, but it didn't speak exactly to hers. So when I had, I combined kind of Z's recipe with what I remember from my mom. And we're not going to stuff portobello mushrooms today. What we're going to do is revisit the wild rice Thanksgiving casserole. All right, so I've done a lot of the heavy lifting before you guys got here today. You're going to be heavy lifting yourself at your own stove, but I don't have that capability of back and forth on the stove. I will figure that out soon because winter is here and we're going to be wanting to make some kinds of stews, etc. that we're going to want to be cooking together. So anyway, what I start out with was I have about 2 cups here of wild rice, and this is a wild rice blend that I really like and Z really likes from Lundberg Family Farms here in Northern California. It's a blend of wild and, it's wild and sweet brown and wahani and red rice. So it's a little bit, again, this is a revisit, right? Okay, so I'm gonna put that, so that is already cooked. So you're gonna put that, I'm gonna put that in my bowl. Just like that. And to that, I'm going to go ahead and add, what I did was I sauteed up a half a cup of raw shallots, and this is how they came out. Yummy, oh, those smell so good. I think the original recipes that I read, and Z's recipe has onion, but I thought, oh, shallot sounds like a nice thing, and I picked up a really nice shallot the other day at the farmer's market. So we're gonna go ahead and put that in, and to that, I sauteed up, I had a cup of, we're not gonna stuff the portobello mushrooms, so instead of portobello mushroom, I bought some Cremini mushrooms. I took about 4 of those and chunked them up and then sauteed those. For those of you who don't know Cremini mushrooms, and you can really use any kind you like, this is a Cremini mushroom. It's kind of a mini portobello, so to speak. I de-stemmed it. And you can use the stems, you can chop the whole thing up, whatever you like. And so a cup of it comes out to that little bit. So funny, till about not even a half a cup. I toasted up some pecans because pecans are super in season right now, especially for people getting ready to make pecans for their Thanksgiving pies. So I toasted those up. I chopped them up, I put them in a pan in a very low heat. Watched it very carefully. Whenever you're toasting nuts, do not walk away from the pan. I'm telling you, it's kind of a meditation, so to speak. Just think of it as meditation, because the next thing you know, especially with something like a pecan or a pine nut, you're smelling, what is that? Too late, they're black. So I got my half a cup of the pecans in there. And then it calls for half a cup of raisins. These are raisins I got, again, at the farmer's market. I'm going to show you something this week and then show you again next week. I have this whole bowl of grapes here, the red grapes. Next week they're going to look like those raisins because I'm going to go ahead and dehydrate those. Maybe we'll do something fun with those next week. And then I took about 4 or 5, I used Turkish figs, which I absolutely adore. And I sliced them up. I got them right here. I'm going to add those. You can use any kind of fig that you like, and let's say you're not a fig person and you want to use apricots. whatever you want. It's about a cup together of dried fruit. To that, we're going to go ahead and put in some fresh thyme. This is a tablespoon of fresh thyme. If you're using if you're using dried herbs, it'd be about a teaspoon. There we go. And what you're really going to do with all of this, y'all, is that you're going to saute the shallots, then put in your dried fruit, then put in your thyme, and then you're going to go ahead and put in the rice. And so it's all going to kind of saute on the stove together. But for purposes of not wanting you to have to meditate at the stove with me, I just put it all together ahead of time, all the cooking. But you're going to cook it all together. And when you're done, you know, you're not going to cook really hard. You just want to, you know, saute it a little bit. And I used olive oil to saute this, by the way. I know that I don't recommend olive oil for really high heat, so I didn't use a real high heat on this. Ooh, this is looking super Thanksgiving. Even though in our family, Thanksgiving's kind of canceled this year, we're still going to do our best to have a two-person. My spouse, Arlene, and I are going to have our own Thanksgiving. And this makes just about enough for us with leftovers. And then after that, you're going to pour in about a half a cup of freshly squeezed orange juice. These oranges came off of my tree at the end of the season, so they've been around in the. They were hanging out on the tree, and I managed to snare a few of them to make some juice with. Our new oranges are not quite there yet, so you're going to make that till it's just a little bit damp, just a little damp. So I'd say it turns out to be about a quarter cup, and we found that gives it nice moisture. Ooh, you could probably just eat this right now and say, huh. If that's what people were doing while we were cooking with the Zoom cook, they were tasting it and were going, oh my God, I can just eat this plain without even putting it back in the oven or in those portobellos. So I'm going to just put it in a nice casserole. This casserole dish was my mom's. And we'll just put that on in here. And you can do this, oh gosh, a few days ahead of time, you know, before you're going to serve it, or you can do it, you know, serve it right away. There we go. Got that in there. Let's see. We don't want to miss any of the good stuff, so take your little spatula, get that all in there. This is smelling, you know, I'm like a big in favor of the shallots as a replacement for the onions, gotta say. They are really super, super nice. Okay, so this is what we have right in here. So this is the wild rice casserole ring revisited as part of your refresh Thanksgiving menu. And then you're going to put that in the oven at 350 for about 15 minutes. Just enough to warm it up. And that's what we've got for you today. My wish for you, as always, is to be joyful in your own kitchen this week and really stay safe. I know the COVID numbers are going up like crazy around the country. So please be safe, wear a mask, wash your hands, social distance, and we'll see you back here next time.